these are African problems. Why can't we trade with each other and exchange currencies across our borders? These are African solutions. What is wrong with traditional medicine? Traditional medicine is a lack of research, enough research, a lack of peer reviews, a lack of sharing of knowledge, that he thinks, not that they don't work. Why can't we focus on it? Because we can manufacture those easily. Even when we talk about GMO and we are scared about tampering with the genetics of crops, why can't we use GMO to ensure that our native original seeds continue to persist? Everything I'm talking about is education. So, in the sense of how you develop solutions for education, look at what the vision and the direction is. Look at the solutions that drive, or the pain points that drive the solutions. I have a friend, he's here with us. He's looking at how to use technology to teach African children in diaspora their language, Igbo, Yoruba, Swahili, on very simple platforms that utilize gamification. What is gamification? The same games that you are always hooked up to. I have children your age. Gaming became a problem. Our main problem was it actually was addictive. Why aren't those games used to educate our children? And that's what the lecturer guys were talking about. But we tend to hog some of these things to ourselves and leave them in the realms of academia. Pedagogy, everybody's like, oh, what's this guy talking about? Break it down. Break it down. Why must A be equal to apple? Why can't it be akara and apple? And why can't you have a simple game that depicts? Why must we demonize pidgin English? Pidgin English is simplified English. At some point, the American English was pidgin. Where's our educational system at? When I went to school over 40 years ago, you had to pass math and English. Why English? Why? Doesn't mean we can't communicate in pidgin. Doesn't mean we can't resolve problems in pidgin. One of my classmates who got a first class in mathematics doesn't speak pidgin. He doesn't speak English very well. He speaks Yoruba, but he uses it to solve calculus and so on and so forth. It's not anything new. So we need to recognize these strengths and plug into them. And I have another example. We're talking AI. We're talking generative AI. We're talking large language models. As we are speaking here, those large language models are being trained with the same biases that keep us down. The same biases that have ensured that we are always consuming. We're always begging. The same biases. This in our research, biases in the solutions. So what we do is we go and import problems, and therefore we require imported solutions. Meanwhile, our realities don't go away. So I have another friend who is trying to enrich large language models by fine-tuning them with local expertise, with languages, in the area of pharmaceuticals, in native medicine. They are conversing with the AIs, the AI relevant content, and so on and so forth. So, a lot of you here are going to be or are already innovators. Don't waste your energy innovating in the wrong direction. Look at the problems and innovate in the right direction. Where does Africa need to be? And coming back to education, I met some interesting person who has been an expert in K-12 K-12, I thought it was American, but it's actually primary and in fact from kindergarten to secondary school. So when you hear K-12, it's not because we don't have 12th grade here. But they've been in K-12. How many Edutech solutions do we have for that space? We've talked about teachers. How many do we have in that space? How many do we have in K-Tech? Again, simple solutions that use gamification to teach. There is a lot of activity on TikTok, Instagram, to the point where I'm sometimes accused by my wife that I spend too much time. But I'm very curious because what I see on TikTok is what I imagine can be on TikTok is more than what I can see. 90% of the content, of course, is unfortunately entertainment. You know, people trying to show you all kinds of things to make you laugh, content creation and all of that. But the propensity of that platform to educate us in the right direction is humongous. The propensity of mobile. Let's come to the technologies. 3 technologies: internet, mobile, software, where you now get into AI and things like that. For internet, I used to work with Galaxy. We're part of the Pioneer Management team. But it's basically infrastructure, not anything that bothers you. But you expect it to be there. It needs to be working so you can develop solutions on it. Mobile. Africa has a remarkably high mobile penetration. What are we doing about it? Why don't we have mobile devices for primary school children? It's not too fantastic. I'm a technologist. I can tell you that you can make a device for primary school children that is not expensive. It will not be connected to the internet. You can't make calls with it or anything, so it will not be attractive to be stolen. It will be solar powered. Its content, just like he said, its content can be 0 rated. 0 rated means somebody has paid for the data, so you cannot use it for anything else but the educational content. So it won't be attractive to steal. If you talk in terms of power, there are innovative solutions. I run a business, a digital transformation hub, and I particularly like to focus on non-tech businesses because we have been overtaken by the hype of tech. I must say it. We have been overtaken to the point where we think success is how much seed funding you have raised. That's not success. How much money did you make and return the seed funding? We don't hear that one. We say only seed funding in this area, seed funding. In fact, as far as I'm concerned, as we continue to look for seed funding, it's the advanced scam. More seed funding. Meanwhile, we're not seeing any value. Non-tech focus on real problems. By the way, they use digital solutions in order to thrive and excel in these areas. So, let's look at it. We talk of K-12. What can we bring to the table? There are solutions, for instance, that interconnect. And this is one of the things the government needs to do. You see, anytime anybody says government, some people have a perspective of a patriarchal, government will, government should, government. Fair enough. But a lot of what government should do and is not doing is to make the interconnections between different areas. And I'll give you one example. A business on our platform is looking at getting a grant to run solar-powered tricycles, which is not a new thing. It's going to run solar-powered tricycles in one of the northern towns. And the solar-powered tricycles is not those ones that will carry one panel on top of their head and be walking up and down. Those things don't work. How much sunlight is going to get to that panel? It's a simple solution. The batteries are swappable. So it takes a battery, maybe a UASA battery of 12 volts. He picks it up in the marketplace, puts it in his keke, hooks it up, and it has 8 hours run. And his keke can even have lights around it and provide source like a mobile street light. If you see enough of them, you'll be impressed. When he's running down, he goes back to that place, changes the battery. Very simple solution. He doesn't pay for the battery. Instead, that ecosystem creates a job for the person who charges the battery. There you can have the solar panels and the connection to power or generator. That same solution can be used to support mobile devices in rural areas for kids because they can always charge them there. That's a connection. That's a connection. And it's only government that can see this connection because everybody comes to them. Everybody goes to this to say, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Government itself, government is building a road. Do you know how expensive a road is? In building that road, a lot of intelligent people are sitting in the room, civil engineers, structural engineers, architects. They are talking of the road, drainage system. Meanwhile, the telecoms guys are next door, and they need 4 containments, tubes, 70 mm to 150 mm, 4 or 5 in the slab on each side of the road or the bridge so that fiber can pass through. That move alone means that if I'm running fiber, 60% of my costs are taken away. Who makes the connections? Government. It can't be. Everybody is chasing their own. So these are the responsibilities we must look at. And it's not just about government, it's about us as well. So I've talked about, at least my first conversations are to us as the innovators. Innovate properly. Drive it from a solution standpoint. Forget this Me Too innovation. We're talking of learning management system. Okay. Tweak your learning management system to have sense. You should be able to work without light and internet. It should be able to prompt you. You should be able to design a career path. You should be able to track how you're doing, whether you're going to get 2-1 or you're going to get this. Make it have sense. In the tertiary space, in the secondary space, create solutions that can help people earn money based on what we call bite-sized skills, micro-learning, small skills. They get credentialed. They are able to do something. They improve the economy. Because this youth population we are talking about, it's not everybody that's going to get job. First of all, we have written off government. You can't get job there. So you have to create the work. So you have to innovate along those lines. And then, in closing, since the nice young lady is coming to warn me that my time is gone. In closing, vocational, TVET, innovate in that space. You see the guy that fixes your car. One guy that you can hardly communicate in full English with. He needs Edutech. He needs solutions that use IoT, video, remote supervision to disassemble Toyota engine. Create it. Look in that area. Look at the guy doing plumbing. Anytime you come, you call the plumber, you give him money and you go away. He does rubbish. The next time you see the work. The apprenticeship system that we started long ago has been abandoned. Nobody waits for time to get matured. All of them set up their own business. The Oga doesn't have boys. So you have a lot of artisans, they don't have skills. Innovate in that area. And technology does this. These are the solutions that we deal with. A few months ago, we were talking about minimum wage. Minimum wage for who? 90% of the population is in SMEs. They are not in government. Are they getting minimum wage? Minimum wage for who? The discussions we should be having are, how do these 90% unskilled, unemployed people pick up skills that can make them earn? That's the Africa we want. So, I will round up at this point. I'm doing my bit. I'm sure you're doing your bit. But let's refocus from the teachers who have to go back and revolutionize the pedagogies instead of sitting back and earning degrees along the same lines. I'll give you one last one. When I was in school, I read chemistry, GCE, O-level. I used a book called Holderness and Lambert. It's a black book, very forbidding looking book. Maybe you guys still use it. It's not a funny book. Everything in that book is two-dimensional. Lines. Lines. The electrolysis experiment. Lines. When I was 13, I went back home, got a couple of batteries, got a bowl of water, put some salt in it, stuck the batteries in, and for the first time, I understood electrolysis. I could see the non-spontaneous chemical reaction happening because of electricity. It took me cheap materials, no big deal. You can recreate all that now with augmented reality, virtual reality, and you can expose people to real things. I'll close there. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Mr. Frank indeed shared a lot of actionable insight on how we can, in our different spaces, create solutions leveraging technology, because like he said, it's also our responsibility. We cannot wait for the government. So you need to ask yourself, in my sector, what can I do to create that change? And it doesn't always have to be something big, because innovation is not just about new ideas. It's also looking at what is existing and how you can make it better through technology. Once again, please let us appreciate our speaker, Mr. Frank Ugbodaga.